We've all heard of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, feats of remarkable construction built throughout history. Compound interest is referred to as the world's 8th wonder in a phrase attributed to Albert Einstein. You may not be aware of how he concluded that quote. The saying goes, "But he who understands it, earns it, and he who does not, pays it." Hello and welcome back to our channel. In this video, we'll be talking about compound interest and why Einstein thought it should be considered the 8th wonder of the world. What is it? How does it work? And why should we care? Let's find out. What is compound interest? Interest on the principal amount plus any interest already earned is compound interest. What? Yeah, most of us are in the same boat. A little bit lost. We need to simplify things. Compound interest is just interest on top of interest. It's important to remember that the principal is equal to the total amount of money borrowed or invested, and interest is calculated as a percentage of the principal. For compound interest to operate, the interest is calculated on the total sum, including the interest that has already been earned. It can be calculated using a simple formula. This is fantastic for mathematicians, but a practical example would be more helpful than theoretical ones for the rest of us. You deposit $100 into a savings account. The interest rate on this account is 1% per year. That means there was a $1 profit at the end of the first year of compound interest. You now have $101. In year 2, you'd earn 1% on $101, which would be $1.01. At the end of year 2, you will have $102.01. Your initial $101 and your additional interest of $1.01. In 2 years, you've made a grand total of $2.01. It may not look like a significant deal, but we used a modest amount for clarity's sake. If you turn that $100 into $1 million, then 1% is $10,000. It's hard to deny the power of compound interest. It becomes a really big deal when using more considerable sums over long periods of time. You can always play around with compound interest numbers by using calculators available online to get an understanding of how powerful it is. Compound interest can be used to your advantage, so let's find out how. 1. Saving. Compound interest magic is limited with money in a bank or savings account. Why? In general, the interest rates on savings and checking accounts are so low that they have minimal impact. Savings accounts typically yield only about 1% interest, and checking accounts pay only 0.05% or so. In general, leaving enough money in your checking account to cover 2 months' worth of spending is okay, and outside of an emergency fund, you should not leave vast amounts of cash in low-yield accounts. But if you're hesitant to start investing, there's nothing wrong with keeping your money in your checking and savings account until you build your risk tolerance or decide on an investment path that's suitable for you. 2. Investing. Because we're dealing with more significant sums of money over a more extended period, compound interest truly comes into play in the context of investing. You should begin investing early and frequently to reap the investment's full benefits. Time and regular contributions equal wealth when it comes to compounding interest. 3. Retirement investing. Taxes are levied on any gains or distributions made in a non-tax advantaged account. Distributions are taxed the year they are paid out. Still, appreciation is not taxed until an investment is sold for a profit. As a result, tax-deferred retirement funds should be included in every investor's portfolio because the tax rate and timing of taxes play a role in compounding interest returns. Investments in 401ks and IRAs can be tax-deferred, so the money in the account grows tax-free. You will not owe taxes on the funds until you take them out to cover expenditures once you've reached retirement age. It's common for folks to have lower tax brackets when they're retired compared to when they worked, because you'd technically be earning less money. Since you don't have to pay taxes on your money's growth for years, time becomes your friend. With a constant yearly interest rate, it's easy to calculate how long an investment will take to double. The rule of 72 is what it's called. With a 7% annual stock market return, the rule of 72 says it will take us around 10 years to double our initial investment. So after 10 years, a $1,000 investment in your 401k will have grown to $2,000 if you don't touch it. Worst case scenario when it's bad. What makes compound interest so wonderful when it's working in your favor? You're earning interest on the interest you've accrued. Compound interest works against you in the same way. Interest on interest increases your debt obligations. Even a single day's delay in making regular interest payments can harm your interest rate. The magnitude of your payments could add up to a significant sum of money. If compound interest is working against you, it's dreadful. Most people feel the negative effects of compound interest in credit card and student loan debt. If you only pay the minimum due on your debt, most often you're only paying the interest. But remember, interest compounds, so it continues to add onto your overall debt unless you can prioritize paying interest and a portion of the principal amount each month. You must do everything in your power to make compound interest your friend rather than your enemy. Don't give up hope. It's possible to prevent becoming a victim of compound interest. 1. Improve your credit score. If you have a good credit score, you'll get a lower interest rate on loans for things like a house, a car, or a small business. 2. Pay off high interest debt. In the long run, it makes little difference what your APR is if you pay off your credit cards each month in total. You may pay more interest than the original amount you borrowed if you keep your balances high for a long time. Remember, most of your minimum monthly payment is spent on interest rather than the original principal debt. If you have credit card debt, you need to take action sooner rather than later because the interest rate is compounding at an alarming rate. The same goes for student loans. It may make sense to take a look at your loans and try to consolidate to help ease the burden of compounding interest. There's a lot of power in compound interest. When used correctly, it can help you become wealthy. For years, if not for the rest of your life, it can keep you broke and poor if you misuse it. Allow compounding interest to work for you by investing it rather than owing it. That brings us to the end of our video. If you learned something new today, like this video and share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and click on that bell icon to keep getting notified of more money-related content. See you in the next one.